Hello Internet, I'm Hazel and this is a look at the Shadow Priest PvP talent tree in Legion. If you haven't already, I recommend first checking out my video on the Shadow Priest changes in Legion to get an idea for what regular talents and abilities you'll be working with. The insanity mechanic in particular is important to understand. You'll unlock these PvP talents as you level up in the new Honor 2.0 system, and they'll work in PvP combat only. The first 10 levels will get you started with the 6 abilities in the left column, and then leveling further gives you more options. Just like with regular talents, you'll be able to choose one option from each row. The first row is the same for every spec, with a focus on getting out of CC. At level 1, you'll unlock Gladiator's Medallion. Trinkets won't work in PvP, so this is your PvP trinket. If they fail to nerf the human racial again, then humans will be able to get 2 things from this row. I don't want to think about that. Adaptation is your second choice on that row, and it's an interesting passive effect. A full loss of control CC with a duration of 5 seconds or longer will be automatically removed. This effect has an internal cooldown of 1.5 minutes. This means you can get out of big CC more often than with the PvP trinket, but you don't get to choose what or when. It's also easily abusable by enemy players. You could cyclone someone with this talent to proc the break, and then hit them with the biggest stun you have and murder them. Relentless is your third option. It reduces the duration of all CC by 25%. This is obviously really strong, but as long as mechanics like Smoke Bomb exist, I can't imagine giving up the trinket. Time will tell. The second row of talents is the same for every DPS spec in the game and gives you some basic damage buffs. Train of Thought increases your damage done by 15% if you haven't been attacked in the last 8 seconds. This sounds ridiculously good for Battlegrounds as a ranged DPS. If you can find a safe place to snipe from, you'll just spray damage everywhere. Second on that row is Mind Quickness, which gives you a flat 15% haste. This seems like the go-to option as a Shadow Priest. It's effective whether you're getting trained or not, and 15% extra haste is a huge boost to cast times and insanity generation. You'll get into Void Form quicker, dot everyone up quicker, and by not running Train of Thought, you remove an extra incentive to beat on you. Your final option on the second row is Initiation. This is a passive effect that gives you 30% extra crit chance on targets at or above 80% health. This sounds pretty bad for Arena. I don't know about you, but I usually want to do the most damage when somebody has a chance of maybe dying. It might be okay in a Battleground setting if you're using Auspicious Spirits, but even then, The third row has your first Shadow Priest specific abilities. These ones are themed around survival. Void Shield causes all damage you deal in the 5 seconds after you power word shield yourself to heal you for 50% of the damage. It's like a mini Vampiric Embrace on crack, just for you. Pure Shadow causes Dispersion to reduce damage taken by an additional 30%. It's important to note that in Legion, Dispersion will only reduce damage by 60% to begin with, so Pure Shadow will bring us in line with the Warlords version of Dispersion. Fleeting Embrace brings the cooldown of your Vampiric Embrace down to 1 minute from 3, but limits it to healing 3 allies. This sounds useful in 3v3 arena versus rot comps, but if you're at risk of being trained down yourself, you might need a different option. The fourth row of talents will augment your new insanity mechanic. Driven to Madness passively gives you 5 insanity whenever attacked, with a 3-second internal cooldown. Shadow Mania gives you 3 insanity every 2 seconds, while you have Vampiric Touch up on 2 or more targets. Edge of Insanity is a bit less straightforward. It makes you no longer automatically activate Void Form at 100 Insanity, but instead gives you a button to press when you're at 100 Insanity and ready for Void Form. You'll do 20% more damage when you're at 100 Insanity but haven't pressed that button yet. This seems good for setting up kills. Void Form is a bigger buff than the 20% once you pop it, but you're unable to maintain it for too long, so holding it off for the right moment could be smart. Of course, using this talent will get you into Void Form less often than the other two, because you're giving up free insanity generation. I see this choice being comp dependent. The fifth row of talents isn't done yet. We don't know what Mind Trauma will be, although there did used to be an ability of the same name that was a healing reduction debuff. Something Shadow is almost definitely a placeholder name. Psychic Link lets your Mind Blast cleave for 30% damage to anybody within 40 yards that has Shadow Word Pain on them. That's not too bad. On the last row, we get 2 damage options and a utility one. Psy Fiend replaces your Shadow Fiend, is on a 30-second cooldown rather than 3 minutes, and it'll attack from range with its own little Mind Flay. If it does the same amount of damage, that's pretty good. The Last Word talent causes your Silence ability to apply Last Word. Last Word increases your insanity generation and damage done against the target by 20%. It appears to have an 8-second duration, which could change. We don't know at this point if it's dispellable. I need more info on this one. Void Shift makes a return in the last spot with a 5-minute cooldown. You can swap your health with a party or raid member, and the lowest health gets bumped up to 25% if it was under that. This talent feels a little weird on this tier competing with 2 damage talents, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this shuffled around. So those are the PvP talents that you'll unlock as a Shadow Priest in Legion. They're obviously not quite done yet, but it's cool to get a look at where things are headed. Are you going to PvP as a Shadow Priest in Legion? What do you think the best talents are? Let me know what you think, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!